We are back, baby. It's the Hardwood Show. That means we're talking some NBA on a Tuesday afternoon here. Tony showing off his Nugs championship hat. We got Big T in the building, ready to talk some hoops. Tony, you ready to talk a little hoop here on a Tuesday afternoon?
Love it. Absolutely love it. Got the Nuggets ring ceremony. I'm a little thrown off that it's at 7:30 Eastern when I don't think the Nuggets have ever played a 5:30 home game ever. But price to pay to get those rings, I guess. I was going to say they should have put them as the later game, but they want to start the season with the champs, and the champs are these Nuggets, baby. It was a fun ride, but we're back to now we got to defend the title, and that's always harder than the first run. So it's going to be a fun year. I'm ready to be back at it.
Yeah, and the West is loaded, Tony. So it's going to be a real fun year for your Nugs. I still think obviously that they're the team, but they're going to get tested for sure. They got some good teams out West. So we'll talk about it here. We got some good teams on this slate. Obviously, guys, as this is a free show, we ask, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not subscribed, and get in on the action over at Run Pure Sports. We got a promo code going right now. NBA 15 is the promo code. NBA 15. It'll get you 15% off your first month's payment over at Run Pure Sports. Go over, sign up, get in the Discord, join us as we talk through this slate here. We'll be talking through it all night. We'll have the core plays up, everything on the site later on today. And it's going to be a good year over at Run Pure Sports. You guys know we normally do the Up to Lock show. We figured, though, for this two-gamer slate, we just do a nice free show for the people here. Hopefully get you guys some winners and get you over to that site, and you can use that code NBA15 to sign up after tonight when we ship. Tony, you ready to ship tonight?
Oh, it'd be fun. For whatever reason, whenever a new sport starts, it's always fun to try to ship that first slate. I think you did it one year for baseball where you just right out of the gate, just shove and just print, because then you feel like
best feeling ever.
You can work your way into the season a little bit where you ship something early, you build a little confidence. We love basketball already, and you just build up a little credit as opposed to you lose night one and then you feel like you're always working uphill. But, yeah. Is this a member-only show?
No, this is a free show for the people today.
Love it. It got to be free for night one.
Yeah, night one's free. You know how it goes, and then we'll get to our normal schedule tomorrow for the big slate. Tony, I know you don't love the big slates first.
Definitely don't like the big slates night two out of the gate. I'll be honest, but that is not going to be my favorite slate in the world tomorrow.
But that's why you sign up, right? You sign up, you get the content. You know, you got a bunch of new guys over on the site. Obviously, NBA, a big sport for them. JBC, one of the best NBA guys. Third and Schlong, great cash game player. And we got a ton of other guys. You know, AP's heat map. We got the playbook rolling for tonight. So everything over on the site. Get in. NBA 15 is the code. Get you 15% off your first month and come join us. All right. We got two good games, Tony. We got two good games. We got four good teams, but there's some changes to these teams here. So we'll talk about it a little bit. And some of it for some of the teams, smaller changes, but still meaningful, especially when you talk about fantasy here. So let's run through it real quick before we get into the actual teams in the slate, Tony. Just from an overview standpoint, two-gamer slate, how are you going about attacking this slate? Do you like to focus in more on one game, or are you just kind of how are you going about really, diving in a two-gamer first two games back?
Yeah, it's just one of those sports where two gamers, a lot of times I like to focus on one of the games just because if you get a blowout, you really get a massive edge in the slate just because everyone goes balanced and stuff. And tonight, honestly, is probably no different. You look at the two spreads, two close spreads for sure, and both games definitely look like close games on paper. But it's night one in the NBA. I mean, you know how many years night one we're excited for the game and that it's a 30-point game in the fourth and guys aren't playing a ton. You just never know. So it's a ton of variance on the two-game slates, and I love it. And tonight is definitely no different, though, with these guys because you got a ton of studs that are super underpriced I mean, look at these prices as we go. You just have guys that they definitely want to ease people into the NBA tonight with these prices. I mean, crazy, crazy low. Even though
Yeah.
they're going to play less minutes early in the year too, though, you would think. So maybe not as crazy as I think they will be later in the year, but still, I mean, you're getting AD in the 8Ks, KD in the 8Ks, Book, Yoke only 10K. I mean, you're getting a lot of cheap guys. Not on FanDuel. Last year, FanDuel's pricing was tougher too.
Yeah, so I was going to say there's a difference between the two sites. DraftKings, they're preparing, they're trying to get new users on. Come on, play it. Check out the price tags, a little softer. FanDuel, we did the opposite of DraftKings, and what they did was they almost have more of like the values priced down, and they focus more on pricing up those studs to closer to where they should be on an actual slate, even if they were playing.
What's the big old green weenie? What's the green weenie? Like that. Gave us the big old green weenie.
I have no idea what that is.
I have no idea either, but I like the terminology, the big green weenie.
Yeah, weenie, schlong. You're in for any of those.
Great words. I mean, I laugh every time anyone says any of them. I'm like a 10-year-old with that stuff.
Exactly. There you go. So, but yeah, so the sites are going to be different. We'll talk through the differences on the site, but just from an overview, that would be my thing. And I think on a slate like this, Tony, honestly, especially on DraftKings, it is a good idea to really try and get as many of those top tier guys as you can, and then just mix around the value plays, because there's going to be a bunch of different values on the slate. And I think that's the best way to go to it. It's not like a heavy mid-tier slate. Yeah, you're going to have some mid-tier guys on your teams, obviously, but it's not one of those slates where you're jamming in the mid-tier and not playing as much value. I think it's more of a stars and scrubs type of a slate here.
David Porter doesn't know that we do this every day. You think I'm hiding after a San Francisco loss? I mean, it wasn't a good night. I'll admit it. I was wrong about a lot of stuff last night. But you think I'm hiding? I come on here every day.
Yeah, he's here right now, so I don't know how you're hiding. I mean, you're here.
Hiding. It's going to take more than one bad day for me to go into hiding. I'll tell you that much.
I'll give our boy Wiley credit here. He called the Minnesota dub. I'll give him
he almost hit the score too. I mean, that score, he said 24-20. I laughed at him for sure. And he almost hit it. I mean, I didn't like Addison either. I'll take the L's. People always say I take more L's than anyone. I hated Addison. I didn't think Addison was a good play. He smashed. I'm not hiding. Yeah. I'm right here ready to go back to battle again tonight. Let's go.
Yeah, I had a ton of those guys, just not in the captain. So I didn't do that great.
I mean, if you didn't have Addison in the captain, you were going to be in tough shape. So it's just that was the winner for sure.
Yeah, but shout out our boy AP shipped. So
Absolutely.
Shout out to him. I think 24K or something like
He's
that.
He's been putting in a ton of work with the Saber Sim too. So it's good to see it pay off. I mean, he's been close a ton this year. Finally gets a nice big 24K shipper and just feels good. As you know, you've shipped it a ton. When these showdowns, it doesn't need to be no 200K hit. When you get that first place in the massive field, feels good. 14K, me and you won a few weeks ago, or 12, whatever it was. That felt good. We shipped it last night. He ships 24K. I mean, that's a nice little hit to come into NBA.
Yeah, it's always nice to get a little hit right before your favorite sport, right? So it's always a good shot. So, all right, how's everyone? First question I see. How's everyone feel about Eric Gordon tonight? Eric Gordon's going to be the first question.
One thing I think, and I've said this every year when we do these opening week shows, I think you can really take advantage almost of how people treat the playoffs, where they just treat it like a normal slate. I think you can really take advantage of people night one, night two, week one, just thinking they know everything about these rotations and stuff. Oh, last year they did this, and the preseason they did this, and blah, blah, blah. Like, so many people don't know what's going to happen. It's early in the year. People are going to play less minutes. They're going to work their way through rotations. The coaches might not even know the rotations right now. They want to throw some stuff in there, see what happens. And these days, you're going to go to Run Pure or Saber Sim, and you're going to look at projections, and you're going to go with them, which you should. You should lean on them. But you also need to have a reason for everything you're doing early in the year. Like, do we think this guy's the backup point guard? Do we think this guy's going to get wing minutes if this happens? What if this game goes small? And I think that's what we're as good as anyone at, is kind of looking through the cracks at different stuff. Don't just run the projections. Have some fades with different guys. I mean, we'll go through the games and stuff so we can talk about individual stuff. But I just don't this as the season goes. Absolutely, the projections get better and better, and we know the rotations more and more, and that's why we love NBA. That's the best. It's the most predictable of any of the sports. You can predict minutes, rotations, all that. We're good at it. Early in the year, though, week 1 or week 2, don't just think these projections are the truth, because they're going to be very flexible. And you're not going to see the same ceiling you will later in the year. I mean, LeBron, for example, just to jumping into it, I wouldn't be surprised. All the chatter I've heard is they're going to really limit him this year. Like, I wouldn't be stunned if he plays like high 20s minutes early in the year and throughout the year until it gets late. They want to keep him healthy. He's old, a year 21 now or 22, whatever it is. He's played our whole freaking life, it feels like. And I mean, he's not going to run out there big minutes. So at 9,300, when he's more expensive than these other guys, right away, I just don't really see how you can go there. Like, I'm not saying to full fade, but he just has to be a worse play than those other guys.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll start there because I got to take on him too, and it's similar to yours. Now, I think that throughout the year, that 100%, you're dead on. They're not going to just run him out every night, 30, whatever plus minutes, and do that. No way. Opening night against the team that knocked them out, could I see them give him low 30s minutes? Yeah, I could here, honestly, because he's LeBron, and this is nationally televised opening night against the team that sent you home, sent you packing. So I could see him actually play a little more here, but I agree with you throughout the year. Like, going to Sacramento on a Wednesday, like, LeBron's going to play less. Like, going to wherever, you know what I mean? Like, a few different places. He's definitely going to get limited. He'll have nights off, I'm sure. And the team's going to lean on Anthony Davis. Don't get it twisted. Whatever you think, Anthony Davis is the one in LA, and he's going to be the guy that shoulders the load as long as he stays healthy. Obviously, that's always the big thing with AD. So I'm with you, though. I think LeBron is the stud. I probably going to remove or lower his projection under all the rest of the studs. I like him the least. Starting with the studs in LA and Denver, Tony, I mean, AD's my favorite for price tag on DraftKings. 8,900 for Anthony Davis. It just feels ridiculous, honestly. 8,900
just
for
go
AD
team by team to make just so we can look at like the different guys.
Well, let's start with the Lakers because we both don't like LeBron. I love AD. Darvin Ham talked about how he wants AD to shoot a little bit more from the outside too. He wants him to take like 5 to 6 threes a game. They're gonna play this. I think they're going to play like a pretty big secondary lineup where everyone knows LeBron comes out early. That they're going to do the same thing they've done with LeBron, where he plays like the first 6 minutes, he comes out, and they signed Christian Wood. They still have Rui. Vanderbilt's out for this game, but so they're going to play some minutes with, I think, Rui and Christian Wood and AD together. They're going to play like a big lineup like that. And they also did like Rui guarding Jokic a little bit last year. So that's another thing to think about. But I think that means AD might extend a little more if they play that big lineup, which could mean a little more outside shooting, a little more chances for him to get some looks. So I think he's definitely my favorite play for the price. And he's looked great in the preseason, by the way. What I've watched in the preseason, he's looked really, really good.
What you've watched, so every night? So all the preseason action?
You always make fun of me or whatever, but yes, I enjoyed watching some preseason basketball, okay? I've been watching a bunch, and AD's looked as good as, honestly, anyone I've watched, to be honest. He's looked really, really strong. So, He's my favorite stud for the price. And I think when you go down the Lakers, Christian Wood to me is price tagged out. I don't know how much run he's going to get. This comes back to your point of I'm not going to tell you I know for a fact Christian Wood's playing 20 minutes or 25 minutes, or I know for a fact they're going to lean on him. I don't know Christian Wood. He's the one X factor. I think Rui's ahead of him, honestly, still. I think he's the one who could play more minutes than Christian Wood, and he's price tagged at 5,100 and Christian Wood 62. And on FanDuel, it's even a little more. I think it's even a little more difference. So for me, I'm going Rui over Christian Wood. I'm going to be really low on him. I don't think Christian Wood will be like own really that much anyways, but I'm just lower on him in general. Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell will be a question. People will say which one. I mean, I think they're very close. I think Austin Reeves is going to end up being the number 3 guy there, Tony, and you can chime in and disagree with me if you want, but he was showing it last year. I think it just keeps going this year. They love him. LeBron loves him. I think it's Reeves ahead of Russell for me, and I'll let you talk about the starting 5.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Reeves is clearly ahead of D'Lo, just like you. And I would even take it a step further, how little I like LeBron early in the year. Everyone that knows me knows I'm as big a LeBron guy as ever, but he's my age. He's old. I think Reeves will be like the number 2. Again, not fantasy points. Obviously, he's not going to get more fantasy points than LeBron in the time. LeBron's going to do everything. But just as far as creating offense and stuff like that, I think he'll be number 2 as far as like lifting things up here, depending on how you judge that. Well, obviously LeBron's 2, but so I like Reeves. Rui is just 5,100. He's the type of guy you can keep in your player pool. Don't love him, don't hate him. I mean, he was fine in the playoffs. He could be a guy that I wouldn't be stunned at all if he's on the winner tonight. I also wouldn't be stunned at all if he gets you like 7. So I want him in my player pool. Christian Wood is just a very easy fade for me. No one's going to play him is the flip side to that. Like literally no one. I mean, he's 6,200. He should be 4,800 or something. And you're just, I mean, he's going to be 1% owned, I bet, tonight. So on a 2-game slate, maybe he like got hot or something from the arc and made some shots. The problem is going to be against a team like the Nuggets, even though it's early in the year. I mean, the Nuggets are going to destroy Christian Wood. He's not going to be able to guard anyone in there.
He's going to get exposed. That's why I'm saying Rui's just a better play, because they trust Rui's defense, I think, more than they trust Christian Wood. This is a horrible matchup for Christian Wood.
No, the worst possible.
Wait until his price tag comes down and play him against a team that plays no defense. You know what I mean?
Or has no bigs and like he can hide out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I think Wood's a terrible play. I don't like D'Lo as much either, but you can definitely leave him in there, obviously. I mean, he's 6K. It's a 2-game slate. He can get hot, too. I'm just not a huge D'Lo guy. But then you get to some of the guys I do like. Like Taurean Prince is going to be one of the highest owned guys of the slate just because he's 3,500 and he's going to, I assume, start. He's going to start, right?
Yes, he's going to start. He's going to start. I think what happens is he will start. He won't finish the game. Rui will finish the game because of his defense and the fact that they need to counter the Nuggets' size. And I think that's why they brought in Vanderbilt and Rui last year. Then they bring in Christian Wood. They need size. You know what I mean? Because the Nuggets, that's what they have. They own Michael Porter Jr. is like 6'10". Aaron Gordon's a beast down there in a handful. And then you got Jokic. So I think they need to have Rui size out there. And they have like LeBron who can play point forward. You know what I mean? So like, to me, I think he starts, Tony, but I think he's one of those guys that won't finish the game.
I could see him finishing, though. Like, I could see him finishing even over a guy like D'Lo or something, where D'Lo gets exposed a little bit or something. I don't know. That part doesn't really matter.
I think Gabe Vincent won't play a ton tonight, but I think throughout the year, I could see games where he actually plays at the end over someone like D'Lo. So
I could see
that's
that a
another
ton
guy.
too. I mean, D'Lo just doesn't feel like, because you're going to want the ball in AD and LeBron's hands anyways. And D'Lo's the type of guy that needs the ball in his hands, so it doesn't really help you. D'Lo's got to do the best when LeBron's out of the game. So I don't see that. But yeah, I mean, Prince is going to be very high owned. He's more of a floor play to me than ceiling, but you have to have a decent amount of him. I mean, he's starting at 3,500. In like my main team, I could see myself like fading him just because of ownership and stuff. And don't get me wrong, he's not going to do that much. I mean, he's going to stand there. If he makes some threes, he'll be good. If he misses his threes, he'll probably get you like 8 fantasy points or something. So he's not like the best play of all time, but 3,500 starting. A lot of other guys are overpriced. I mean, Gabe Vincent should be like 3,500. He's 4,500. I do. So like the guy I like a little is Jackson Hayes, just because they need some size in this matchup. I've always really liked Jackson Hayes as far as just an athlete, talented guy that runs up and down. I think he's a better fit on this team than Christian Wood, honestly. Just to be able to play with LeBron, play with D'Lo. I think he'll be a great fit with D'Lo, rolling to the hoop and stuff like that. And just no one's really going to play Jackson Hayes. And he might not play. Who knows? That's a risky play.
I don't think he plays, honestly. I agree with you on what you said, and he makes sense and everything like that. And it'd be a mismatch for Zeke.
Play, though. They don't have enough bigs.
They signed Christian Wood. They're going to play Christian
Wood.
But
I think it's still only AD and Wood and Rui. Like, they don't have bigs. That's why I think Jackson Hayes is sneaky. I like, and he's cheap too. Like, when I play him, all I need him to do. And again, we started the show talking about blowouts. Like, you just never know when you're going to get blowout run too. I just think no one's going to play him at 3,600. And again, that's how you're going to ship a 2-game slate. You're not shipping a 2-game slate with Taurean Prince. I mean, yeah, he could be, but if you play Jackson Hayes and he gets you like 15 or something, has the aggressiveness street clothes needs.
The key is you need like blowout is huge for someone like Jackson Hayes.
I think he's going to play though. That's just my take. I haven't watched it as closely as you have. I think he's going to play. Just looking at the roster, I think he steals minutes tonight.
Yeah, I mean, listen, what happens if AD gets in early foul trouble and they rather have Jackson Hayes go out there and pick up some fouls over Christian Wood, who gets dominated? Like, I think there are paths to where Jackson Hayes could actually play himself into minutes. But I will just say there are also paths to where Jackson Hayes doesn't see the floor.
Definitely.
So you got to know when you say that, I just want people to know that that is a real possibility. But like you said, on a 2-game slate, you can take chances on certain guys. I got some guys in the other game that I don't know exactly how much they're going to play or what.
Some of my buddies here are the dude you played with actually when you were here, that guard, and another dude that's my buddy. He's actually like best friends with Jackson Hayes because he's from around here. He played high school in Ohio, and the dude that played on our team actually works him out. So I will.
He looks like
I'll dig in a little bit. I'll see if I can get any sort of info.
He looks strong when I watched him play one of the last 2 preseason games. He looks pretty strong. So I don't know if he gained some weight or muscle or whatever in the offseason. But yeah. All right. Anything else here from the Lakers, Tony, that we didn't hit on?
The only other guy that like is on my list at all is Cam Reddish. Like, what do we think of him?
So I think that let's see, Rui, Gabe. I'm just trying to go through it. Torrent's going to start. I think either him or Christie gets the nod.
He's got to play over Christie.
I would assume it's him who gets.
I got a Cam Reddish problem. I've always liked him since he was at Duke. I don't know why. I've always liked him.
Yeah, I think he is the one, Tony. I guess so. He'd probably be the one I'd play over Christie.
I mean, he's another guy that, again, this is a 2-game slate. I can't say this enough. We got to take some chances and play some guys. I like Jackson Hayes and Cam Reddish a little bit, but
yeah. All right, let's move to the Nuggets side because I saw some people asking about the Nuggets and your Nuggets. So I'll let fair is fair. I'll let you, since your Nuggets won, I'll let you go first. on the Nuggets here and start at the top. What are you doing with Jokic and work your way down?
Yeah, so I think the 5 starters all play low 30s minutes. Obviously, that for those that don't know, Jokic, Murray, Gordon, MPJ, KCP, 5 starters. I think they all play low 30s minutes. None of them really get pushed that hard, but their prices are all fair. I mean, Jokic 10K, Jamal, AG, MPJ, all in the 5Ks. KCP's one of the best plays too because he's going to have a bad defender on him all night. He's going to get open shots. 4,800 is a great value for KCP. So I like all those guys. And then you get to the bench unit where this is where you're going to separate a little bit, I think. So Christian Brown, obviously 4,400. He's going to step into the Bruce Brown role where he's not going to get that kind of run early in the year. Like at the end, Bruce Brown was playing 25 to 30 minutes. Christian Brown is not playing 25 to 30 minutes, I don't think, out of the gate. I think the bench guys will be more 15 to 20-minute range. I think Brown will be on the top end of that, obviously. Low 20s minutes for Christian Brown. 4,400, you can definitely play him. The guy that is going to get the biggest boost to me from last year is definitely Reggie Jackson, just because he falls into that creator role, and the starters are going to play less out of the gate too. So you just look at what they got. I mean, they had Jeff Green last year. He is obviously not there anymore. They signed Zeke. Zeke is 3,900. I mean, he's got to play a decent amount at 3,900. And I think these Nugget bench guys are pretty good. Like, I don't think Peyton Watson plays much at all. Like, I would play those Lakers guys over Peyton Watson. I just don't – I don't see him getting very much run at all. Justin Holiday, a veteran, I think he's a great fit on this second team with the Nuggets. Fantasy-wise, I mean, he's going to stand in the corner and he's going to shoot threes and he's going to get a few rebounds, but he's not any good. But as far as real-life basketball, I think he's a great fit with the Nuggets. He kind of fits in that backup guy to KCP, MPJ, these guys where he can come in, play some defense, hit open shots. I like him. And then obviously you got the rookie Strother from Gonzaga, who I like a ton. 3,100. He's another guy that people are assuming he's going to play. I'm not 100% sure he's going to play, but he's 3,100. And again, it's the gambles you're going to have to take. I know some sites have him projected really good. We're a little more cautious. I don't even know if we even have a projection for him in RPS right now. SaberSim has him at like 7. This is guesswork. Opening night, this is guesswork. If I had to guess, I would say he plays a little bit, but I don't think he's any more or less likely than those Lakers guys I talked about to play. And his projection is high on some of these sites. So for me, I think the starters are super safe. Brown is okay. Reggie Jackson I actually like. And Zeke Najee's fine. Justin Holiday's fine. Strother is fine at 3,100. But with this projection for Strother, I think people might play him more than they should, just because I could see him DNPing for sure. I don't think he's even close to a lock.
Remember, Mike Malone is evil when it comes to young players. He likes his vets, and I'll just throw that out there for everyone who doesn't remember the past few years. I can name off like a ton of different young guys that Michael just refused to play, even though they were better.
I think this hat looks great, Anthony.
Yeah,
don't you worry about my hat.
Sucks.
I think it looks amazing.
So I'll start. So I'm with you on the starters. I agree with you. They're all going to play low 30s minutes. I think Jamal Murray, clearly at 7,500, I think that's still a nice price tag for him. If I had to choose between Aaron Gordon and MPJ coming off a little ankle issue, I'd probably lean Aaron Gordon. Because if they're going to be more cautious with anyone, it's probably MPJ coming off of, I think it was an ankle sprain, Tony, he got at some point. So I think it would be him that I'd be a little more worried about, just talking the starting 5. And then my favorite guy, I'm with you. Reggie Jackson is the Mike Malone. He is the exact guy Mike Malone is going to play like 20 minutes tonight. Vet, has been around. He can trust them. He's going to lean on him a little bit with the second unit. I think he'll play a little with Jamal too. They'll play like Jamal at the 2 and Reggie at the 1 for some with the backup unit, when he comes back in before Jokic. And and then I think Brown is working back from an injury himself. I do like him though still at 4,400. So for me, I like them two as my cheap guys from the Nuggets. I kind of like them more than the cheap guys from the Lakers, to be honest with you. But that's just because I
Who
feel
do you like more?
like Christian Brown and Reggie Jackson. I like as cheap plays.
Well, yeah, they're 1K more.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, like, I can trust in them over like.
Oh, I mean, they're for sure going to play 15 to 20 minutes. So you definitely have that guaranteed. Like, they're not playing 0 minutes. Like these other guys, the Lakers guys, could play 0 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
I text my buddy about Jackson too. I mean, he said he's going to play for sure. So
he says he's going to play for sure. All right. Well,
and I said, okay, how many minutes? He said, I mean, maybe not a ton, but 10 to 15 was his guess. So I don't know. I think not to go back down the Jackson Hayes wall, but I think he definitely, the matchup just tells me he's got to play. So
honestly, at 3,600, if he plays even 10 minutes on a 2-game slate and he's unowned, I can take a shot with Jackson Hayes. So yeah, I'm good with Jackson Hayes then. And I think I'm going to be heavy on Jamal, especially on a site like FanDuel where point guard is just, it's not very great. Chris Paul, there's a big difference in his price tag in the sites, and we'll get to that game in a second. But I definitely think Jamal, I'm going to be heavy on him. And I'm going to not play I'm not going to play Peyton Watson. I'm not going to play. Probably not going to play Justin Holiday. I'd actually rather
Justin Holiday. He's 3,200. Unless you're not playing 150, you're playing 150 tonight. Though. You can't not play any Justin Holiday.
Fine, he's just going to stand in the corner and shoot 3 threes. Fine.
Yeah, but he plays with Jokic now. When he makes shots,
that's a good point. All right, that's a good point. You sold me. He's playing with Jokic. He's going to get way better.
Hayes is just an MMA. I mean, on a 2-game slate, honestly, everyone's in play for everything for me. Like, it's a 2-game slate. But yeah, in theory, Jackson Hayes is more of a MME type play for sure.
Think about it this way, though. You're going to need 1 or 2 value plays in all your contests. Because even in single entry, you're still going to try and fit the studs. You know what I mean? Like, you still want a bunch of those, like, 8K studs or, Jokic at 10K. You're going to want those guys. So, if Jackson Hayes gets them for me, I'll take the chance he plays 10 minutes or 15 minutes. He could grab 5 rebounds in 10 to 15 minutes and get us 5 points, Tony, and have 10. Like,
easily.
That's not crazy. Or 12.
You just don't know. Again, it's a 2-game slate, and there's nothing to say these games can't play super ugly, can't play blowouts. I mean, there's so many different scenarios that you just don't know what the scoring is going to look like. Because, I mean, a dude at 3,200 gets 8, it could be good tonight. Who knows? Like, you just don't know what it's going to look like. And everyone is going to act like they know what's going to happen tonight, but no one truly knows until they get out there and sees new rotations, foul trouble. Maybe some guys didn't do much. Like, I know Jokic didn't do much in the offseason. Who knows how Jokic is going to look? I mean, we all saw the videos. I know he's been back a little while now and he's played the last month or so, but still, like, you don't know. He did not put forth his best effort this summer. I'll say that.
Well, also, too, they lost Bruce Brown and Jeff Green. And people will say Jeff Green, but Jeff Green was a leader on that. People looked up to Jeff Green. That was a vet that, again, Malone loved. And Bruce Brown, Malone definitely loved and trusted a ton. So those are big losses, in my opinion. And how are they going to replace? Those aren't easy replaceable losses, in my opinion. So that's my question.
Short term for sure. Like, long term, I think they'll create roles for these younger guys to fit in there. But I agree with you totally out of the gate because, I mean, those guys played key minutes in a finals run where they only played 8 guys most of the time.
Correct. Exactly. And people forget Bruce Brown was like ousting MPJ, in big minutes and stuff in the playoffs. So
I'm gonna miss Bruce for sure. I love Bruce.
Don't worry, awesome. He's in Indiana, Tony. We can play him in Indiana. We'll talk about him when they They get on a slate eventually, but I can't wait to watch the Indiana team. I'm a big fan of
I'm
Obi
excited for
Toppin.
that. That's actually the closest team to my house too, so I might slide down and see Bruce a few games.
You should. I'm big on Obi Toppin and Bruce Brown this year. I think they're going to have good years, and at least have a chance to have good years. They're gonna get a lot of run, meaningful run, I guess, for a team that's not as good as the teams they were on before that, playing behind people. All right, Tony. So Phoenix, Golden State. Let's start with the Phoenix side, and the Phoenix side's got the little bit of news that we have on this slate, right? Because most of the news we have for who's in, who's out, Phoenix is the one team where we don't have all the news yet. Devin Booker looks to be in. They listed him as probable. He told one of the reporters or whoever that he's going to play for sure. So he's in. Bradley Beal, report came out, he's unlikely to play. He's still listed as questionable. And after
he got like an upgrade back, didn't he? Like to questionable, or he was out now back or something.
I still saw that he's still unlikely to play.
How the hell? This is what tilts me about the NBA. I love the NBA as much as anyone, but like, how the hell do you not know if you're playing right now? It's 5:30 on opening night. Yeah, you're in or you're out. Like you're not, because it's not like it's one of those games he's going to risk it if it's close. So you're either in or you're out. Like
he said too, he tweaked his back like a week ago. It's feeling better. You know what I mean? But they said they're going to be cautious with him. And I think that's what happens, Tony. I think they stay cautious.
I'm in, Kevin. I'm in. Let's go see him. If the Nuggets come, I will win. The Nuggets come, I'll come see that one too. That'd be a good one.
That'd definitely be a good game. All right. So you got KD at 8-4, Devin Booker at 8-3. If Bradley Beal's out, which we're going to all assume for this that he is out, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker were already mispriced, I would say, and now they're just really tough to not play, in my opinion. I have the take that Devin Booker is still going to be the guy in the regular season that tries to be like the man, but I think when it comes to postseason, I think it's going to be that's when KD is going to like actually take over a little bit and be like the number one. But I do think in the regular season, Devin Booker, it's still his team. That's just my take on the situation. Both guys are going to take a ton of shots, though. They got Nurkic in that trade. He's 6,300. So this is where we talked about the studs, Tony, being priced incorrectly on DraftKings and correctly on FanDuel. Well, the mid-tier was priced correctly, I think. And Yusuf Nurkic at 6,300, I think that'd be his like price on this team, right? Ceiling type price on this team at 6,300. So I don't really like him as much. I'm going to probably under project him a little bit. He's always hit or miss too. Guy can get in foul trouble. He's slow, moves his feet slow. Could definitely. I could see Looney just being a veteran that he is. Getting some offensive rebounds and Nurk just, picking up fouls and stuff like that. So I'm a little lower on him. Grayson Allen, I think, starts. So I think their starting lineups, Kevin Durant, Nurkic, Booker, Grayson Allen at the 2, and Okogie at the 3, whatever. So Grayson Allen, he's okay. I hate playing those like sole shooters. I think he's someone who I'll under project, but you can leave him in for your 150 because he is going to start. Eric Gordon, I would assume, comes off the bench and plays the backup point guard role, and maybe some 2 as well when D-Book isn't in there. And so, yeah, I like the Suns to me on DraftKings are really, really good plays, especially the 2 studs. On FanDuel, I think is where you could be lower on them just based off the price tags. But Tony, I'm going to struggle not playing Devin Booker and KD on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with your first take that it's Booker. Durant looked bad to me at the end of last year. He's older now, and not everyone's an alien like LeBron, where you can just keep going into your 40s. This guy's got to be high 30s now, right? I got to look it up. I bet he's 35, 36 years old now. And
God, I'm going to go under 35, but I don't know.
It's got to be close because he was – I mean, when the original arguments like 10 years ago were Melo versus KD in a way. So like he's got to be at least 35. But Booker's entering his peak. Like he's probably 25. I bet they're 10 years apart, these two guys. So I think it's Booker for sure. And Hayes is center only. I think it's Booker for sure at 8,300. I think I agree with you totally that regular season, he's going to be the guy. Even when Beal's back, I still think Booker's going to be the guy. Yeah. He's just entering the peak of his powers. KD is definitely, he's 35, they say. That's a good guess. Yeah. I just think he's going to coast a little bit. I do. I know he loves basketball. He wants to be healthy too come postseason, though. I actually don't like KD as much as the field will. I know his price is really good, but I don't know. Like, I don't love KD in this spot. I think he's safe. I just don't know if we see a ceiling. I could see this being a Booker spot for sure. Just I know he's chirped with Golden State a bunch too, where they were showing their rings and Booker. Who knows what Booker's sorry ass was saying? And I mean, those two are good plays though. No doubt about that. I would rank Booker. We can talk about our overall position.
He's going to be hunting Chris Paul too. Just FYI, like he's going to be hunting Steph Curry and Chris Paul. They're going to start both those guys because listen, the only way Chris Paul doesn't start is when Draymond's healthy and Kerr can go back to him and say, "Hey, listen, we're going to start Draymond and Looney." You know, like we and that's okay probably, but even then, I think Chris Paul would have an issue with it. Like, what's going to happen? They're not going to not start him in this spot. So Chris Paul's going to start, Steph's going to start, and Booker's going to literally hunt those two guys on when they're playing defense.
He's gonna have a monster year. And another thing about Booker with this current team, I mean, I think he could average. I don't know what his career average. Again, I'm saying everything off the top of my head. I think he could average double-digit assists this year, though, too. Booker. I have no idea what his previous averages were. I'm about to look. Somebody in chat tell me what Booker's career assist average is.
He's going to have to because they don't have a point guard. He's the point guard, I think, too, on this team.
He's just going to have so many options to pass to, too, and stuff like that. So I think he's just huge. I actually don't like Nurkic as much either. I just feel like they're going to shift minutes between him and Eubanks a bunch. I think they'll probably play, I mean, maybe 25, high 20s to Nurk, low 20s to Eubanks, but at 6,300, when you know Durant and Booker are going to shoot a ton, and those other guys are shooters too, like Grayson Allen, Okogie will shoot open. Gordon loves to shoot open shots. I think Nurkic is fine, but I would just consider him more of a just safe, like cash type play. Usually Nurkic in the past, I know you've had some great calls with him in the past, like upside spots. I don't think this is as much of an upside spot for me, at least. But again, it's a 2-game slate. He's 6,300. I think he gets you like 30 fantasy points. So solid. If you want that just solid game, I think that's him. And then, I mean, they got a lot of bench guys. So there's a lot of guesswork with this Phoenix team, I think. Like you said, who's going to handle the ball when Booker's out? KD can bring it up a little and stuff, but it's got to be Eric Gordon and guys like that. They just don't have that much, which could be why SaberSim had such a big projection for Jordan Goodwin. I don't see it with Goodwin as much, but he is another guy that's 3,300, and you got to have some guesswork on these cheap guys. And there's no way they play this many guys. At least I wouldn't think. Like I'm seeing like 11 or 12 guys projected. Like
that's because they have no friggin' idea.
Yeah,
literally no idea.
Correct.
Like
I don't see how you can.
Watanabe played 20 minutes today. I wouldn't be stunned, but I also wouldn't be stunned if he played 5. You know what I'm saying? The Sear Little, same thing. Like, how are you like Keita Bates Diop's on this team? Does he play? They got a lot of guys that they can throw out there depending on what they need, right, Tony? Like if they need a little more defense, okay, maybe they go a little more like Bates Diop or maybe Little a little bit. I think if they need shooting, like Utah's that corner 3, like that's kind of his thing.
God, he is so bad.
He's so bad, but again,
he's so bad.
You just hear who I named? Like they don't have that many like great.
Their team. This is the team people think are going to beat Denver. Like
this team is not winning a championship. This team
It's
is not
literally
winning
what's
a
been proven
championship.
to not work these days. 3 studs surrounded by a bunch of like mediocre role guys, and like these bench guys are awful.
So I think the Suns are going to be a matchup team, and I think they're a perfect team to take advantage of teams like maybe Golden State, because they just want to hunt one-on-one matchups, and against a team like Steph and Chris Paul with no Draymond Green out, you're going to be able to hunt one-on-one matchups a lot easier. But against teams like Denver, they're not going to beat Denver. I think they'll struggle against the Lakers. Denver, both better.
I definitely think they're going to struggle. Their bench. I mean, even if Eric Gordon is your best bench guy, like, oh man,
I mean,
I
you're
like Eric
starting
Gordon, but
Josh Okogie and Grayson Allen tonight, probably. That's not that great.
those
So,
guys suck. And like, there's a point too where you just don't get better. Like, you are what you are. Josh Okogie is what he is. He's not getting better. He is. We know exactly what he is. He'll have a good game here and there, but man, and Grayson
and we know
Allen,
what he's going to
4,900.
do. We know what he's going to do, though, right? He's going to go out there. He's going to play aggressive defense, probably pick up 2 early fouls, like run the floor,
Everyone keeps
get a
saying
few
Eubanks in
rebounds.
the chat, and I actually agree. I think he's clearly the best play out of all these bench guys because of the same thing I said about Nurkic. I think he's going to play similar to Nurkic. Obviously, I think Nurkic is more talented, but Nurkic is 6,300. Eubanks 4,700. I think they play similar minutes. I mean, he's not 1,600 better than Nurkic as far as if they play equal minutes. So I like the call. The only issue at all is he's only center, but that's fine.
Both guys get in foul trouble. We'll just say that, which again would lean me to the cheaper guy. And the only problem with Eubanks is he's center only, like you said. Now on FanDuel, I think he is power forward. So if you want to play Drew Eubanks, he's 5K, but on FanDuel, he is power forward eligible. So I could see myself having a little more Eubanks on FanDuel, Tony, honestly, just because of that. But I agree. I would leave him in the pool.
I like Eubanks. I think 4,700 is too cheap.
Honestly, with this team, like he's going to get the better draw too. He's going to get a lot of those no Looney minutes where Jonathan Kuminga's in trying to guard KD. Because that's what they're going to do with Kuminga. Kuminga's going to try and guard KD. So he's going to get Dario Saric, who
he might be my Eubanks is in consideration for my play of the day. I think he's a very good play.
I think he is too.
Saric, you just said it. You were leading into saying I interrupted you, but Saric is a great matchup for Eubanks.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like old guy who can't move his feet, and Drew Eubanks is like younger and athletic. And I think he causes. I think both of those guys could have decent games at their price tag. So, I'm with you. Drew Eubanks, my favorite too, bench guy for Phoenix as well. All right, so we talked about Phoenix, Tony. Let's talk about Golden State. Steph Curry's 9,200. For me, Steph would be not LeBron. I think he's priced almost correctly on this slate. So I like him a little less than Book, AD, Yoke, guys that I think are mispriced. I think Steph is closer to what his price tag will be or should be. It's probably should be like 9,600, 98. He's 92. So close enough to me. So I think on FanDuel, though, I'll be higher on him just because of how bad point guard is. But I'm going to be lower on him on DraftKings probably than like guys that I said like Book and AD, Jokic. I'll have more of those studs. So what are you doing with Steph Curry and Clay and the rest of the starters for Golden State?
Yeah, I think Golden State will be the highest owned team by a mile just because of these prices. I mean, you have everyone is too cheap just because. I mean, I don't know why they have Draymond out shouldn't have influenced the pricing this much. But, I mean, Chris Paul's just mispriced. Clay is fine priced, but he's still 6,500 like Nurkic. I mean, and we always talk about these guys like Clay. This is the point of the year where I'd want to play Clay. His legs are fresher. He's just going to feel refreshed coming into the year. So I like that. Wiggins is too cheap. Looney is way too cheap. Kuminga is way too cheap. Saric is way too cheap. I mean, this is your chalk team of the night for sure. I mean, all these guys have to be high owned. And I encourage the one guy. You're right. Like, he feels properly priced. I bet he's the guy a lot of people come away from and play the studs. Like, I can see that. Like Yoke, KD, Book, these type of guys, AD, that's the fun part about this 2-game slate. You got tons of studs. So I think Curry will be the one everyone kind of fades and plays the rest of these dudes, just because when they're already playing Chris Paul and Kuminga and Saric and these guys, they don't want to play Curry too. Like, it's just that they don't want to jam the entire team. But in a situation like a 2-game slate, I mean, Denver did not take the summer serious. I'll keep saying it. You just never know what's going to happen in that first game. I would be stunned if both of these games tonight played really good basketball in close games. One of them is going to blow out or play super ugly. It's just going to happen. It's opening freaking night. So the question is, what do you do with all this chalk? I mean, do we limit it to 3 or 4? Golden State? What do we do? Because Golden State for sure has the best plays. Even GP is going to be unowned, and he's 3,900.
So I struggle not to play Kuminga. He's looked the best in the preseason. He's the guy who, honestly, should be starting. Honestly, them playing Phoenix, he should start and be guarding KD. They won't do that, but they're going to get him out there quick, I think, to guard KD early. They'll pull Chris, bring Chris back in, without Steph, let Chris run the second unit, bring Steph in a little later back. So, for me, I struggle not to play Jonathan Kuminga. I think he's a really good play. I think Kevon Looney at 5,300 is also really good. The guy like Clay, to me, I think you could take a stand on someone like Clay. If you want to limit someone, Andrew Wiggins is going to play out of position because he's really a 3, honestly. But he's done it before; it's not a big deal. He's another guy.
You think Wig is over all the off the court stuff, whatever it was with the
no.
His buddy. I mean, that was a tough seed for him last year. You don't think over the summer he got a new lady or something to get him refreshed?
Honestly, I don't know how you could just easily recover from something like that.
It was rough. I mean, if that story is true, that would be tough to come back from. If I knew that my kids were yours this whole time, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could get over that. I'll be honest.
I don't think I could get over it, honestly. I don't think I could ever get over it. That's
that would
tough.
honestly be about as bad of a situation as you could have. If you were raising your kids for multiple years and then you realized that they were your best friends, that would be.
And it's not the kids' fault either. So
no, of course not. And you're still going to love the kids. It's just you just can't get it out of your head that's your, it's just a tough scene.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree with you though, Tony. I don't know if you limit it the Golden State guys, but it just seems like it's hard to get away from not playing some of these guys. There's just, even we talked about Saric, it being a mismatch for Drew Eubanks, but Dario Saric is 3,400 and gonna play the backup.
Saric is going to be 50% owned. He's like a lock almost.
Yeah, and he's gonna play the non-Kevon Looney minutes. And we all know Kevin Looney, early in the season, they're not going to.
Golden State is definitely going to go deep into this bench.
Steve Kerr will not run his starters out big minutes. I'll tell you. That's why I love That's why I love Kuminga the most. Saric is probably next, honestly. That's how we can go lower on this team, though, Tony. We know they're not playing massive minutes. There's no way.
No way. And so David Porter, KCP revenge. How the hell can it be revenge when he just won a title with the team?
He already got his revenge.
He won a title with the Lakers and then a title with the Nuggets. He's not bitter towards anyone in life. He's so happy right now.
He's on the perfect team too. How is he? There's no revenge.
He does not have any revenge. I'm all for narratives, believe me, but he is not bitter towards anyone. These guys are all really. I think GP is a sneaky play just because no one's going to play him. I actually don't think Chris Paul's as big a lock as everyone does. I mean, I agree that he's a good play just because
On FanDuel, he's 8K.
yeah, like he's not even playable on FanDuel. That's kind of how you can leverage the different sites for sure. And like, I just don't think you should, and that's what a lot of people will do, I'm sure, is just play. So our boy JBC, just to give people a preview, I see some of his content's going up, and he's got 67% Chris Paul on DK, which I think will be about the field. And on FanDuel, he's got 27% Chris Paul. So it just shows you how big a difference the prices are. And 5,600, I think those are the type of fades that we make on this show that other people don't, that straight projections, you can't fade that. Like, you can't. These 5,600, it's impossible to fade that. But if you start thinking outside the box that he's just going to pass, he's not going to shoot as much, try to get Curry and Clay involved, Wiggins involved, I don't see him as the type of guy that's going to go crazy pushing things around. So then you get into the question, if he gets 28, is that good? And it probably is the thing, because
I think it might be.
So
I think it might be.
And like when he gets 40, obviously you're dead. So you're not full fading a guy like that. But if you could find a build with something that you really like, with a bunch of the value guys plus studs, I mean, in the chat, this is what we deal with all year. Like, of course, fading Chris Paul. Do you want us just to come on this show and be like, okay, let's play Booker and Chris Paul at point guard. Let's play Kuminga. Let's play Saric. Let's play Yoke. Is that what everyone wants? I mean, anyone can come on here and tell you guys the cash plays. We're trying to get creative on a 2-game slate.
Yeah, and honestly, that this is the way. I mean, if we just told you to play like straight projection, Eric Gordon, Chris Paul, Andrew Wiggins, Devin Booker, those are like chalky, extremely high owned plays. You know what I mean? You got to find a way around some of those guys. In NBA, honestly, Tony, we talk about this all the time. Yes, you want to be a little more chalky, right? You are going to eat more chalk.
100%.
But you still, on 2-game slates, you want to have some leverage.
Like
on
tomorrow,
the field.
You definitely want to be chalky for sure. Today, it's a 2-game slate on opening night. Like, and you just need to know what you're doing. Like, Chris Paul's the best play on the slate. He's 5,600. Everyone knows that. He's going to be 70% owned. Okay, now what do you do with it? There's nothing wrong with either way. If you play him, he's the best play on the slate. Of course.
And your answer, too, could be, you know what, Tony? I'm going to play him on FanDuel, where he's going to be lower owned. You know what I mean?
That is where you really take the stand and put your balls on the table. Play him at 8K.
Like all these people in chat, like imagine fading Chris. Go on FanDuel and click 8K Chris Paul. Seriously, though, like, and that's taking a big stand. You know what I mean? Because
even one team, though. So, like, this dude, y'all playing 150. The last 10 years, I play one team, too. I've had the most success with one team. I'm not scared to fade Chris Paul on my one team. I mean, what do you mean? We're trying to win. This is what we're good at. We're good at getting different and playing chalk. And, again, I'm not saying that I'm going to fade Chris Paul tonight. I'm not. I'm just opening people's minds to that it's okay to fade someone like that, because all that has to happen is he scores 22 fantasy points tonight, has 7 assists, couple points, doesn't play great, just tries to get involved, and 70% of the field is behind. Yeah, when he goes off, then everyone already has him, so you're not gaining anything on the field, which is also fine. It doesn't – there's nothing wrong with either approach, but you can definitely fade anybody on a 2-game slate.
I mean, I'd
have a harder time fading Yoke, honestly, just because he's 10K. I don't think he's going to play crazy minutes, but he just gives you the highest floor by a mile. And there's so many cheap guys that you can play that I would have a harder time fading. Like my 2 favorite plays for sure, just to get in, are Yoke and AD, just because AD at 8,900, I think just crushes, and they're both only center. So I don't think that many people go with that approach. And I just think they're the 2 best plays. So I will be fine with playing them and kind of seeing where I end up to.
Yeah, honestly, I've been playing NBA DFS for, I don't even know, 8, 9, 10 years. I have no idea. I never have 150 in NBA DFS, like ever. Like I've done it maybe twice in my life. Like I've never consistently done it. I'm going to do it on this slate because It's a 2-gamer, and I've been trying to play a little bit more, but my style is 1 to 3. It's always been, you look at any hit I've had in NBA, it's all with 1 to 3 lineups. And I'll say the same thing. Like on these slates, even though you want to still have some chalk, these are the slates where you need to have leverage against the field. And the bigger slates, like Tony said, that's where you can lean more on the chalk side. So if you are playing 1 to 3 teams, like I would assume 70% of our viewers, Tony, probably play what, 1 to 5
probably
lineups,
90% of our viewers.
Okay, so 90% of our viewers are doing that. Well, if you're doing that and you're playing Chris Paul in all your lineups, you're doing it wrong. I'll just say it right now. If you're playing Chris Paul in like 1 or 2 of your lineups out of 3 or 4 or 5, I think you're doing it right, honestly, on a slate like today. It's not that you need to completely just not play them, but you still want shots on. Maybe get some foul trouble, Tony. I said they're going to hunt them. You don't think he's going to have to work on defense? Because I'll tell you right now, teams are going to put him to the test. Him and Steph Curry on defense, they're going to have to work a lot harder because they're going to have to guard. Steph's going to have to guard up probably. But Chris Paul's still going to get hunted, and guys are trying to get him switched on him. So that's another thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, is Chris Paul the best play? Yes, but that's what we're saying is you just don't want to go in there on these type of slates and jam everyone if you're playing like 2 or 3 teams. It's not the way to get to the top. So, and it's not the way to beat guys who are 150ing. You know what I mean? Like JVC is like one of the best at 150ing. You're going to struggle to beat him with 1 to 3 teams playing that way, being afraid to fade a Chris Paul.
Because he's going to have 150 optimal base teams, and you're going to try to beat him with 1 to 3 optimal base teams, and it's hard. That's why we've had good success 1 to 3 teams, because we get different with stuff. And, yeah, you know what? When it goes wrong, we get 0 back for sure. That's the flip side to getting a little more creative. You have more variance for sure. If you just go in and just play the optimal every day, you're going to have a lot less variance. And that might be the right approach for some people, which JVC's taught a bunch since he started at RPS. If you don't want a ton of variance and you want to min cash a bunch and you want to always have a chance, play chalk. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has a different approach. 99% of the people are doing this for fun. And you know what's maybe fun for you is cashing every night, or not every night because that's not how it works, but you just play and you min cash a bunch and you never hit huge, but you always have a chance. You always have a good sweat. There's nothing wrong with that. Or maybe you're the other way and you're doing it totally for fun and you want to just get some crazy teams in there and try to solo ship and stuff. So this is what's great about DFS. There's so many ways to do it.
Yeah, and my thought process always been, even when I started, was I want to be first or last. Like I don't want to be in the middle. I want to win or I'm going to lose. But not everyone thinks that way, right, Tony? Not everyone, that's their goal. Some people want to be, closer to the middle than being dead last.
Yeah.
And that's the difference is my whole time doing this, I've been totally fine with either straight losing where you're dead, like you're last, or winning, like being first, being second. You know what I mean? And that's the difference in the mindset. And not everyone has that mindset. I get it. I don't like losing at all. I hate losing. Like I hate it, but nothing's worse than being in the middle where you still don't win and your team's in the middle. It's literally the worst. Give me a chance for my team to be in first. If it ends up being dead last, I'm okay with it. Because guess what? It's the same as being in the middle, right, Tony? There's no difference. You know what I mean? Like you either want to be the top 15, 20% for the cash rate or the cash line, or there's no difference in any other spot. So I always shoot for that top ceiling, but not everyone's that way. If you just want to, min cash and that's cool with you, there's no shame in that at all.
It doesn't mean you can't ship doing it that way anyways. You just need a lot more things to happen to ship with one chalk team compared to, like we said, all these best guys are popping 150 in there, and most of them are doing it optimally. So, like, there's just so many combos that you're going to have to beat that it's harder to ship that way. But there's also more of a chance where you're keeping your money each night too. So it's fine either way. You just got to figure out what you're comfortable with.
So Tony, let's give our takes on the games. Who's going to win? Let's start with the first. Just give your take. It doesn't, give your take here.
So when we do these football shows every day, and I have a very strong takes, and I'll do that as the NBA goes too, as everyone knows that's watched our stuff. I mean, I can give takes tonight. I hate just saying stuff just to say, like, it's literally opening night. Sure, I mean, I'll pick Denver and Golden State, but I have zero conviction whatsoever in that. Like, it's opening night of the NBA. I just want people to understand that I don't have strong conviction. Like, I have conviction a ton of times. Everyone's watched our shows. Opening night, though, I do not think it's the best time to be betting NBA. I'll just say it. If you want to have fun, get your winners from JSU because he's clearly got some winners ready.
Yeah, I like Phoenix here. I think Phoenix beats Golden State. I think without Draymond, I think it's going to be a lot tougher for them. A team like Phoenix, where, like I said,
look at that bench I was looking at when we were talking about it.
I just think it's going to be tough for them to slow down the two ultimate scorers. I think they're just smart enough to get where they need to get against who they want to get against, and attack and stuff. So yeah, I mean, they're at home. The Lakers game, I don't have as much of a strong opinion on that, but I'll go Denver, I guess. But
I mean, I wouldn't be stunned if anything.
I think the Lake. You think that's probably the game that could end up in a blowout? Right?
No, I think it's like dead equal. I think you want to know how I would bet tonight? If I was betting, I would bet some alt lines. Like, I'm talking like as high of alt lines as you can have. I bet one of these two games ends up a 20-point game. So, like, I would just mess around with some alt lines and, like, just have fun with it. Like, again, I don't have the DK book up or FanDuel book up right now, but I'm sure you can get pretty good odds on one of these teams winning by 20 plus. I'd be stunned if one of these games didn't blow. Every year a game blows out. I still got the Bull. So does he play for Phoenix? Bull?
Yeah, he's on Phoenix.
God, it'd be funny if he won someone. Is there a millie tonight? It's not a millie.
No, $200K on both sides. Still not bad.
No, hell no. No one's going to be. And I hate when people act like you can't solo ship these slates. Yeah, you can't solo ship it playing Chris Paul and all the chalk, but if you play something different, we've solo shipped a ton of 2-3 game slates. It's a lot more realistic than people think.
We gotta definitely solo.
We got to look at freaking FanDuel too, just because it's so different.
I mean, it is different. The difference is that
I still like it better with positions. Like, I wish it was both like that. I really like how I wish they weren't even eligible at multiple, like how it used to be where it was just point guard, shooting guard, and they weren't. I love that. Like, where you could just zone in on the positions and punt. I love that.
I will say, though, for construction on a 2-game slate, it definitely made it more challenging, though.
Which, right? I love, though. I love to be able to go in here like tonight, for example, point guard. Just because I want to go through it real quick for the people, the free show. But like, point guard's terrible on FanDuel. You got Curry at 10K, Jamal at 88, Chris Paul at 8K. Like, this is a position where if it was just limited to one spot, like, there's not even a dude in the 3Ks really that you can even click.
Reggie Jackson, you got to play him at 4K.
Yeah, like, I think he's like a lock at 4K almost because of the pricing. So, and Jordan Goodwin, I mean, there's no one. I haven't built any teams yet. Let me see. So is there like literally anybody that how's no one like 3,500?
Nope. No one that you're going to want to play.
Literally no one.
Saban Lee's not even on the team, I don't think.
I don't even think there's a dude that has a chance to play at 3,500.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, though. So, like, Reggie Jackson.
I was going to use the example, like, you take a stat at a bad position like this, you could play someone, but I would have to like think someone could play, and there's not even a dude that could even play.
Do that at one of the other positions, Tony.
The other positions aren't as bad, so I was trying to make a point. But point guard's bad, so like Reggie, and maybe you play whoever. I mean, Gabe Vincent's 5,200, but the position's terrible. You need different stuff on FanDuel. Like, you just have different requirements. Shooting guard.
That's why I'm saying Steph might be more in play on FanDuel.
God, at 10K.
I'm just saying, though, like, the position is horrible. Like,
it's just one of those things, though, and this is what people will figure out as the year. Like, if Steph gets you 50, but Reggie Jackson gets you 14. I think you're in pretty good shape with the 14. Just the way the slate sets up. It's just opportunity cost. But point guard sucks. I mean, maybe. I mean, even Jamal, I think, is a bit. Maybe it's D'Angelo Russell, honestly. 6,200. At least he's not crazy priced. I think that's a somewhat fair. Like, if I just look at the prices, it would have to be D'Lo and Reggie are the most fair of anybody.
That's going to be the point guard is definitely going to be the weird spot where
it's awful.
Maybe you just hope Jordan Goodwin gets some run and you play Goodwin and Reggie Jackson.
Even Goodwin's 43, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's like, man.
Yeah, how is he more
shooting guard isn't much better. I mean, so
how
shooting
is he
guard
more expensive than Reggie Jackson though. Like, how is Goodwin more expensive than him?
It's crazy. And shooting guard, but so Pure Chaos says, do you take Reeves over Russell? Reeves isn't a point guard. Like, I would love to play Reeves
if he was a point guard.
And Reeves is 6,700 at shooting guard, but shooting guard's at least a little better because you got Gordon at 4K. Grayson Allen's only 4,200. Christian Brown is 4,100. I mean, you got a lot of cheap. Gary Payton's 4,200. Booker's 96, which is fine. I mean, so it's even better that way. Tons of guys at shooting guard. Small forward. Kuminga's Kuminga has to be a borderline lock at 4,600. I just, like you said, he looked good. We've always thought he should take the leap. And you got Julian Strother. I don't like him as much on DK, but FanDuel at 3,600, you get a nice price break because I don't want to pay 10.8 for KD and I don't want to pay 10.3 for LeBron. So I want to go cheaper in that spot. And then
honestly, 6.8 for Wiggins is, I think, fairly priced, to be honest.
On FanDuel for sure, just because
that's what I'm
everything is more highly skewed. And then power forward, FanDuel is tougher. Just looking at these prices,
I would play Rui too at small forward. Like, I think Rui. I think Kuminga's the best one. You talked about Strother for super cheap. I think Rui at 4,800 is a real fair price tag too, where everyone's going to play like Taurean Prince. I'm telling you right now, like, there's a $600 difference. And I think Rui could really honestly end up finishing the game, especially if they need him on defense. So, like,
oh God, they made Jackson Hayes 4,700. Oh, why couldn't he be 3,500?
At least he's power forward, though, Tony.
Yeah, but you can't pay him at 4,700. Like,
you got to play him on DK. You got to play him on DK.
I know. I was just hoping he was 3,500.
You can't play him over our boy Drew Eubanks at 5K.
And you got Zeke Najee's 3,900. Again, it's just price plays, and I think that's a really good play at 3,900, especially because I know I want to start my teams with AD and Yoke. Even on FanDuel, where AD is luckily power forward eligible, 11.2, and Yoke is 11.5. And just to look at center, just to clear, like, Nurkic is 7,500.
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan's not playing. Everyone else is eligible at power forward too. And Looney's 5,400. I like Looney, don't get me wrong, but I don't need Looney. So it just makes it easier to play Yoke.
There's two centers on FanDuel I would play, Jokic and Looney.
Yeah, I mean, you literally can't even make a case for anyone else because just play him at power
forward and you play one of those two centers. You know, if Looney makes your team work and you want the savings instead of Jokic, that's fine.
People are acting like Looney's going to be this dude from the playoffs, though. Like, I like Looney, don't get me wrong, but like, he's not going to go out there and get like 19 rebounds and stuff like he was in the playoffs.
I mean, Looney's like a solid basketball player, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's real solid, you know. But
like, what is on DK? He's cheap, right? On FanDuel,
5,300 on DK,
and you get the double bonuses and different stuff. Like, he's 5,400 and only center eligible on FanDuel. I might just lock Yoke.
That's not a bad idea to just lock Yoke. I mean,
because people are going to play Looney, like you said, and
100%. Looney's going to be more dude. Looney, I would venture to bet if you project, I would bet that Looney hits a little more than Jokic when you run your first build. It's like
the good part is there's people playing other guys too. Like Nurkic is going to steal. How could you play Nurkic at 7,500? Oh my gosh.
Nope. Can't do it. Just can't. I'm telling you, those are the only 2 center plays I would even look at.
Why
Dario
is Nurkic
Saric
going to smash tonight, Anthony? Well, why? Just because?
I don't think he's going to smash, but yeah, I mean, I think we ran through it. Anything else here on FanDuel that you missed that you want to hit on? I mean, I think we talked about most of it, though.
We got Game 7 tonight, too, so we're going to have content up for Game 7. It's going to be a fun little night.
Content up. I see some bets. The premium plays are up in the bet side. If you don't have the bet side, check out the bet side. It's been smashing. Tony's going to post all of his picks if he hasn't already. I know JBC's posted all of his stuff. Everything from hockey, I mean, to baseball, to soccer, to everything. I'm sure I'll have some NBA. Yeah, NBA. He's got it all up there already. So if you like betting, sports, if you like betting all sports, this is definitely the place to go, right, Tony?
The freaking best, because for one, JBC's posting all kinds of bets, like JSU just said. I mean, the dude will have 40, 50 bets. So if you like volume and you want soccer and all these other sports too, you always have options to bet plus EV stuff. But then we also have premium plays, which are led by JBC too, but where we give 5 plays, the best 3 to 5 plays a day. And they've been hitting at a crazy rate, and we're just up a shit ton of units. So it's fun. Definitely sign up for that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So
do we need a play of the day, or what do we
We got to, but we got to remind the people that NBA 15 is the promo code. So if you want to sign up and get 15% off, use that code NBA 15. It'll get you 15% off your first monthly payment over at Run Pure Sports. So use that code and get in the Discord. We got to post our stuff, Tony, but let's give a play of the day here, all right? And, I know you're not going to give Chris Paul as your play of the day. I know that for a fact.
It would be funny if I gave Chris Paul.
If you just came in there and said, you know what, Chris Paul is a lock. Just lock him in there and, count your money at the end of the day. But, yeah, so my play of the day, and I'm not going to do that either, you know what I mean? Because obviously – I think I already talked about how good of a play Jonathan Kuminga is. He's not my play of the day, though. I think Reggie Jackson at 4,100 on DraftKings.
God, you steal my plays.
Well, I thought you were going to go with a different play. I thought you already kind of were leaning towards one play. We can co-sign on the Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson's such a good freaking play. He's going to play more early in the year too. Like he's such a good play.
And they're going to let him play with the ball too a little bit more because it's early in the year, right, Tony? It's like you can have the ball a little bit, Reggie. We'll let you get a little bit work with the ball in your hands game 1. But yeah, especially on FanDuel though, like point guard is terrible. You're telling me I can lock in a guy like Reggie Jackson, play 15 to 20 minutes tonight, and he's 4K, and there's no values on FanDuel at point guard. Like, and everyone's priced up at point guard. Like, give me Reggie Jackson, 4K, 4,100, be my play of the day. Big T, you got a secondary bench play?
Oh, man. These are always hard for me because I want to give something creative, but I don't want to give something that's – I mean, there's a lot of good plays that we discussed, but they're all super high owned. I will go with, man. I want to say Jackson Hayes so bad, but
I swear that I was thinking you had 2 plays that you were going between, and neither were Reggie Jackson.
No, I was going to go Reggie for sure, just because I feel like he's going to take a huge.
I thought you were going to say Drew Eubanks or Jackson.
I still might say Drew Eubanks just because he's the only guy that I feel pretty safe about that also is somewhat sneaky. Yeah, I'll say Drew Eubanks just because I do think I want to get more creative because it is a 2-gamer, but it's night 1. I don't want people to be like, "Oh, you said who was I talking about? You said God, who was my sneak? Jackson Hayes, and then he doesn't play. Yeah. I don't want that night 1. I can handle that a month in. Night 1, I don't want he didn't even play. But I wanted to get creative for the people. I'm going to give a safe, somewhat upside play, though. Drew Eubanks. I think
at least Drew Eubanks is going to play, right, Tony? Like,
yeah, I want to give it a little bit of a safe play. I do like some of the sneaky plays, though, in my 150.
But listen, Eubanks could catch run. right?
I think he's going to crush. So I do feel good about. I feel good about him and Reggie being somewhat sneaky plays from what we're wanting to give here. The only issue I have at all with you, Banks, is just that center spot. But it's fine. We can play AD at power forward too, right? Or is he just center, right? AD's just center on DK.
Yeah, but on FanDuel, power forward. So you can play him at power forward. So
I want to play AD. This is my issue, though, with making it you. I want AD and Yoke.
Yeah, but you can't play Jackson Hayes either because he's
center. I know. Well, in my 150, I can. I always want it to be my main team.
Well, you got to go with someone else then. I mean, geez, this is a tough scene for Big T day one. I mean,
I put a lot of effort into this thing. I mean,
he cares so much, people. Listen to this guy. He cares so much about this play of the day. He's really working hard for it.
I'm looking at the ownerships. Let me find it. Okay. The guy I'll go with the guy that I think's just a lock. Like, he's not going to be like 0% owned, but I think Dario Saric, and he's a power forward eligible. I've given tons of plays during the show anyways, but Saric is 3,400. He fits with my build, and he's going to be owned, but I don't care. It's a 2-game slate. I feel better about Saric. I'll go with Saric.
Joe, let's settle down.
There you go.
Settle down a little bit, Joe.
I like that, though. I actually do like – so Zeke Naji is in play for me for play of the day, too, just because he's 39. He's center only, too. Damn it.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be power forward for sure. I can't do him either then.
Sorry,
yeah,
Tony.
No, it's Saric. Saric is going to have a good game.
All right, well, guys, hope you enjoyed the show. We went a little long there. We're going to get the core plays up on the site, get all the content up for you guys. So check it out. Use code NBA15, get 15% off your first month's payment. We'll be back tomorrow, 4:45 Eastern, Hardwood show tomorrow, and Up to Lock show. We'll take you all the way up to lock for the premium members. I'm assuming it's a 7 o'clock slate, so 6 p.m. will be the Up to Lock. So check us out over at Run Pure Sports. Hit the like button on your way out. For Big T, I'm JSU. Guys, let's crush tonight's NBA slate and let's run pure.